My nipples aren't out, right? Okay, good. Hello, boss babes. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to get out to the world yet, but during our class yesterday, Maddie was saying a lot of things that were really aligning with this download that I got. And first it was just like some higher beings shot some shit out on a piece of paper when I was chilling. Then I went to the archangels for a little bit of clarification, because some higher beings, I mean, they rely on me to translate to human, right? But they fit so much into one message. Anyway, I'm gonna start with the clarifying cards, because when two archangel cards come out together, it's almost like they both are speaking one sentence to me. And these two came out together. Sandalphon is the sacred guardian, brought out assurance, which is about basically reminding you that you do have access to joy, you are being rooted on, basically that you're at the tail end of a cycle right now, and that's the place where it's going to feel the most intense because it's closing. Came out with the divine messenger, Archangel Gabriel, brought out prophecy, which usually talks about pre-incarnate soul information. So in combination here, that told me, okay, this is sacred knowledge, basically, number one. So may not want to share this with everybody. But this particular thing, like when they come out together like this, soul contracts. That's what is really about to be going down. So basically the Saturn retrograde combined with the Venus retrograde together, it's like a realigning of soul contracts. So that's kind of like the, what is it, Diagon Alley thing that Abby was mentioning. It's almost like just this rearranging of soul contracts and soul relationships in this time, clearing out a lot of karmic ones. Obviously, if you have even the tiniest bit of fucked up karma, it will come back right now, but just so you can pay back the karmic debt or whatever and get yourself back on an even keel. So yeah, that's what the angels gave me for context. I just had to preface that before I got into like the message, because I don't really know how everybody's gonna receive this. So you will get whatever truth is going to get you to the next layer of truth that deconstructs the first one's vibration. So basically, there are things that you've internalized as truth, and they are what's weighing you down in this time. Your beliefs and your values are not the same thing. That was number 2. So Spirit wants to see if you're really gonna let destructive beliefs dictate your sense of integrity more than your values. So we as humans get really caught up in feeling like we have to stand firm in our beliefs, dig our feet into the ground, like whatever not. But at some point that can put you in disharmony with your values. So if you have a belief about protecting people that's based on a value of human life, for instance, but then you're like, these people can die because they don't believe what I believe, it's like your belief system at that point is now at odds with your soul's values. You see what I'm saying? Because that's kind of the thing about when you step into a spiritual path, how you feel about people personally stops mattering as much as how your soul feels about humanity. So next thing, if your beliefs have diminished your humanity, then you need to be open and willing to surrender them and reconstruct them to align with your values. And I think this has a lot to do with turning rage into sacred rage. Rage isn't inherently sacred, you know what I mean? When it's not at a balance with compassion, when it's not at a balance with our integrity, when it's not at a balance with our values, it's not sacred, it's destructive. And I'm saying that as a fire sign with an earth moon, so I've burnt myself to the ground many a time on that. So as you're delving into the things that anger you, I think you're going to have to be releasing some of these beliefs about why things anger you and things like that. Might not walk out on the other side not having rage about the same things anymore. The goal is not for all to agree. The goal is for all to hear one another and see one another. So basically, people you've had past life shit with, people you've had just a past with in this life and things like that, whether they're coming up mentally or physically coming to you. Your goal is not to change anybody right now. You don't have to fix anyone. You don't have to fix these things or whatever, but you do have to cultivate a capacity for hearing and seeing people that would otherwise trigger you and like turn off your sense of logic and turn off your sense of your higher self, like feeling oneness even with things that don't necessarily like resonate with you. Karma is not about balance. It's about brotherhood. And this is why I fucking love my guides. Siblinghood in Chris's words. Literally came back. So people would talk shit about how trans people are not like spiritually whatever. You should know that even ascended masters, okay, respect gender neutrality because they know that's how I like it. Let me reel it back in. So this is actually the second time that they've told me this. One time was in a dream. I was sitting with an ascended master at a coffee shop in a dream world, in dream state, and we started talking about laws of the universe, and we got to karma, and I was like, yeah, I'm balancing it, and I was like, I guess it's about balance, and he said, or it's about brotherhood. So this ties back into the seeing one another and hearing one another. Basically, it's like your fucked up karma comes from the fact that like you treated somebody as something other than like related to you on a soul level, basically. And so when people get hit with some fucked up karma, it doesn't really have to do with like balancing a scale so much so as like humbling you to change the way you relate back to the situations again. So ultimately all the karma that's befalling people, it's not that they need, like spirit wants you to just sit in it, you know, feel bad for yourself, feel like, oh, I fucked up my life or whatever. It's about you learning how to better relate to people, how to improve your relationships with your family, your chosen family, obviously. I'm not about like getting back with toxic family members or anything like that. But yeah, so with Saturn going in retrograde with Libra, basically, the cosmos is kind of like realigning, reworking, and clearing out, making the way for new soul contracts. So I wanted to share that because when messages come to me from certain dimensions, I know that means that like some very heavy shit is probably about to go down. And I wanted to just hit you with the higher perspective about what happened in the 5D that will cause the 3D to manifest how it is, basically. So yeah, that was my download. Love y'all.